Chapter 5. The Surrender. The words escaped Ashley's lips before she could fully process them. Do you want to see more?" she asked, her voice a soft, almost breathless whisper. The question hung in the air, charged with a sudden, palpable tension. Before the embarrassment could fully register, before she could retract the offer, she found herself reaching for the hem of her sweater. With a slow, deliberate movement, she began to slide it off her shoulders, her fingers tracing the soft knit fabric against her skin. The sweater slipped down her arms, revealing the smooth, pale skin of her shoulders and the delicate curve of her back. The deep V-neck gaped open, exposing the gentle swell of her breasts and the shadowed valley between them. As the sweater slid further down her torso, her stomach and the curve of her hips were revealed, the soft light of the car illuminating the delicate lines of her body. The fabric pooled around her waist, then slid down her legs, revealing the full expanse of her bare thighs and the curve of her buttocks. The air in the car seemed to thicken, charged with a silent electric energy. Mr. Eliot's breath hitched, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and reverence. He watched her every movement, his gaze tracing the contours of her body with an almost worshipful intensity. His lips parted slightly, but no words escaped. He seemed transfixed, lost in the moment. The complete exposure of her body, the vulnerability of her nakedness, sent a wave of heat through Ashley. Her skin tingled, her senses heightened. She watched Mr. Eliot's reaction, the way his eyes drank in the sight of her, and a strange mix of shyness and exhilaration washed over her. Ashley extended the bunched-up sweater towards Mr. Eliot, her hand trembling slightly. I'm in your control now," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Mr. Eliot's hand reached out, his fingers brushing against hers as he took the sweater. The soft knit fabric felt warm against his skin, imbued with the lingering heat of Ashley's body. He held the sweater close, his eyes closed, and inhaled deeply. The scent that filled his senses was a delicate, intoxicating blend. It was the subtle sweetness of her skin, a warm, musky undertone that spoke of her natural pheromones. Mixed with this was the faint, clean aroma of her shampoo, a floral scent that lingered in her hair and now permeated the sweater's fibers. There was also a hint of the fabric softener, a soft, powdery note that added a touch of domesticity to the sensual mix. He could almost feel the texture of her skin against the fabric, the memory of its smoothness, its warmth. He imagined the way the sweater had clung to her curves, the way it had moved with her body. He pictured her skin, now bare, and the lingering scent intensified, becoming a tangible presence in the close confines of the car. It was an intimate, almost overwhelming sensory experience. A moment of profound connection. He held the sweater close to his face, breathing in deeply, savoring the moment. Do you like it?" Ashley asked. Her voice trembling slightly, a complex mix of emotions swirled within her. She felt exposed, vulnerable, yet also strangely empowered. The intensity of Mr. Eliot's gaze, the reverence in his touch, sent a shiver of nervous excitement through her. The air crackled with unspoken desires, and a raw, primal urge pulsed between her legs. She was undeniably aroused, her body thrumming with a restless energy. As Mr. Eliot inhaled deeply, savoring the scent of her sweater, Ashley seized the opportunity for a fleeting moment of self-indulgence. She subtly shifted her position, her fingers brushing against the damp heat between her legs. The sensation was electric, a jolt of pleasure that sent a wave of heat through her body. She was soaked, wetter than she had ever been, the evidence of her arousal undeniable. The dampness grew, spreading with each passing second, and an almost unbearable urge to pleasure herself overwhelmed her. She couldn't believe the words that formed in her mind, yet they escaped her lips before she could stop them. "Mr. Eliot," she whispered, her voice husky with desire, May I pleasure myself in front of you?"